Okay, so ready to dig into something we use every day without even really thinking about it.
Yeah, I think so.
Facts. We hear them, we read them, we probably even say them.
Right. But do we always stop and think about what a fact actually is?
That's what this unit is all about. It's called From Facts to Information. And it's a bit of a mind bender. It gets you thinking about how those things we call facts, those things that seem so, well, solid.
Sometimes they're not so solid.
Exactly. This deep dive is going to take what you think you know about facts and turn it on its head. We're going to look at how what we think are facts are actually just our interpretation of things, colored by our own perspective.
And how even information itself, how that comes to be in the first place, is a process that has, well, maybe some cracks in it.
So if you're ready to challenge your assumptions and really think about the information you're bombarded with every single day, you're in the right place.
Because let's face it, moving past that simple black and white idea of what a fact is, it makes you a much sharper thinker. You start to see things differently, you ask better questions.
All right, let's jump right in. I'll give you a fact, and you tell me, gut reaction, true or false.
Okay, I'm ready.
Goldfish have a 3-second memory.
Oh, that's a classic. Most people would probably say true.
Right. But is it, though? This unit shows us how a lot of those, everyday facts we just sort of accept, they're often interpretations that might not have kept up with the times.
Sort of like those old science textbooks we used to have.
Uh-huh, yeah. So the unit gives you a bunch of these statements to chew on, like, humans only have 5 senses.
5 senses. That feels familiar.
Or, Mount Everest is the highest mountain.
Oh, I'm sure I've read that somewhere.
Right. And then there's water boils at 100 degrees Celsius.
See, those all seem like those basic facts we learned way back.
But the unit starts to poke at them a little, like 5 senses. Turns out research suggests we might have a lot more than that. Think about our sense of balance, or our sense of where our body parts are in space, something called proprioception, which, by the way, this unit dives into a bit deeper.
Huh. So that 5 senses thing is a bit, I don't know, simplistic maybe.
Exactly. And sometimes the fact, it's not that it's wrong, it's that it doesn't give us the full picture. Like, the human body has 206 bones. True for adults, sure, but babies, they've got more. So there's this whole other bit of information missing.
I like how this unit breaks down the ways a fact can be kind of, well, slippery. Talks about how some facts are context dependent, meaning they only hold true in certain situations, or imprecise, where it's a simplified version but maybe not 100% accurate all the time.
And then there's system-dependent facts, where the truth depends on, the system you're using to measure things, like centimeters versus inches, both ways to measure length, but different systems.
It really makes you think about moving away from this rigid idea of facts as set in stone and towards this more nuanced view of how information actually gets created.
Which brings us to, well, how is information actually created? The unit lays out 4 stages. First up, collecting data, numbers, words, observations, that sort of stuff. But that's just the raw material, right?
Yeah, like ingredients, but not the cake yet.
Exactly. Second stage, organizing the data.
Yeah.
Making charts, tables, putting it into some kind of structured format. And this is where you start to see patterns that weren't clear before. Then, stage 3, analyzing. People start looking for connections, differences, anything that stands out in that organized data, trying to figure out, okay, what does it all actually mean?
So you've got your raw ingredients, you've arranged them nicely, now you're taking a closer look at the recipe.
Yeah, good analogy. And then, the final stage, creating the information statement. Taking what you've learned from the analysis and turning it into something that makes sense, something you can share with others.
Basically, information is data that's been given meaning.
So how does this all relate to you working through this unit? Well, think about it. If information is built up in stages, each one with the potential for, things to go a little wonky.
It means we can't always take information at face value.
Right. The way data is collected, how it's organized, the methods used to analyze it, all these can affect how reliable that information is.
The unit talks about things like selection bias. That's where certain data is chosen, but other important data is left out.
And then there are measurement errors, maybe because of a faulty equipment or just mistakes made when the data was being gathered.
It all really highlights how important critical thinking is.
Absolutely. So this unit really encourages you to, whenever you see a new piece of information, think about those 4 stages. Think about how it was created.
It helps you ask the right questions.
Exactly. Like, if you see a statistic, don't just accept it blindly. Ask yourself, how did they get that data? Was anything left out? How did they analyze it to reach that conclusion?
Those are the kinds of questions this unit is going to help you ask.
Okay, so just to sum up, remember that facts aren't always as simple as they seem.
Sometimes they're open to interpretation, sometimes they're out of date, sometimes they don't tell the whole story.
We talked about a few examples like that goldfish memory thing, the idea that we only have five senses, even the boiling point of water.
Which, actually, as you'll see in the unit, isn't always 100 degrees Celsius. It depends on things like air pressure.
And the big takeaway is that instead of getting stuck on these maybe not so solid facts, we need to understand this bigger idea of information, how it's made through collecting data, organizing it, analyzing it, creating a statement.
Knowing those stages, that's your superpower. It lets you look at information and say, okay, I'm going to take this apart a bit. I'm going to see what's going on here.
You become a more careful, more critical consumer of information.
Exactly.
Now, as you dive into this unit, I want you to keep this in mind. How might understanding this whole process of creating information change how you learn, not just in this unit, but in everything you study? It's a big question, but I think this deep dive will give you the tools you need to answer it.
So have fun, get curious, and get ready to see the world of information in a whole new way.
And that wraps up our deep dive for today. Until next time.
See you then.